We're really getting down to the bones now. I wanted to take a moment to film a quick video introducing the April 2022 hashtag Tarot Bones Mindful Tarot Challenge. Now, if you're not watching this in April 22, if you're watching at some later point, you can still do the challenge. You can still dive into this practice. But if you're watching this in April, join us. Join the Mindful Tarot community. Just send me an email. My address is below. Post with us. I'm sort of on Instagram, so you can post stuff on Instagram, but I just invite you to join on YouTube or just at home to play with this challenge, to play with dice, bones, right? The bones of tarot. If you haven't watched my video introducing tarot bones, I encourage you to do that right away. Before you try to make sense of the challenge. There's a lot of background information. It's not a long video, but there's a lot of background information that would be worth wrapping your mind around. You also really want to have a set of dice, a 20-sided or icosahedron, a D20 die, and a 10-sided D10 or pentagonal trapezoidhedron. Let's say that one more time. Pentagonal trapezoidhedron die. These are easy to come by. They're Dungeons and Dragons dice. You can buy the sets online at your local gaming store, and I'll put a link to this below, there's a free website that will simulate the roll of the die, or there are a bunch of smartphone apps, so you don't actually need the physical set of dice, but they're nice to have and they're not expensive and they're pretty. They're sparkly. They come in pretty colors. Okay, the point of this challenge is to get us refining and really settling in to the very bones of tarot, its numerical structure, and the way that structure is tied to the story, the narrative, the exploration of the soul's journey, our journey, the seeker's journey, our awakening, our movement toward a fuller, richer, more abundant sense of this abundant life, right? So it's a tool to help us think through and really settle into the bones of tarot, its number structure, and how that number structure corresponds to stages in an individual, a seeker's unfolding life path. It's also a tool, this is totally related, to helping us refine our sense of keywords, of the keywords that align with the 10 positions in the major arcana and the 10 positions in the pips for each of the minor arcana. Now you're saying to yourself, 10 positions in the major arcana, there are 22 major arcana cards, but if we take the Fool out and the World out, so we think about the Fool as before the journey begins, the blank slate, and the World as after the journey of the soul ends, so the completed picture, then we have 20 cards in the middle, and they're 2 decades of 10. And I talk more about this in my intro video. So refining a sense of our keywords, right? That's where it begins. And so I invite you to jot down your sense of the keywords for this journey that the tarot recounts, and to think about how the major arcana, those 10 keywords for the major arcana, denote a kind of cosmic or archetypal sense of the journey of the seeker, and the corresponding keywords for the minor arcana are dealing with things that are much more mundane, a kind of contextual, environmental sort of backdrop kind of level. Okay, so figuring out your keywords to begin with, and then over the course of the challenge, maybe refining those keywords, thinking they're not quite right, they don't quite get it, right? Okay, so here's the challenge. I'm inviting this to be a simple 2-card reading each day, And the reading structure that I'm inviting is my roots and canopy structure. So starting with a single card that is your root, right? Where you are sort of anchored right now, what's your foundation right now? And then a second card that's the canopy, how you're expanding out from that rooted place, how you're expanding out into your life. So you might think of this as, what's at the foundation? What's the ground right now in this moment, in this day? And then how does that open up into a more expansive sense of things, a broader sense of things, a horizon, possibility, opportunity? Okay. And because I'm working with a wheel of life, my very first, so this, I'm going to do it right here and now, folks. My very first reading for April 1st, 2022 is going to be starting with my root card being the hub of my wheel of life. So the card at the center of my year ahead spread, which is justice. And then my canopy card is going to be what is my April card, which is the Daughter of Pentacles. So my first day, I'm not going to draw any card at all. I'm just going to start with, okay, it's April. Here's the hub. Here's the month card. Here's the sort of the year theme card. For me, it's justice. Sorry, my light is catawampus. Here's my month card, my April card. And then on April 2nd, I'm just going to, I'll probably just be drawing new cards every day, or I might always start with a root card of my month card and then see, okay, it's April, Daughter of Pentacles. Now what's the canopy? Okay, so I've got my two cards. Whoops, I got my two cards. Now I'm going to roll my die. I'm going to start with my 20-sided die. So the root is to start with the archetypal energy that's embedded in this 20-sided die. I'm going to roll it, and the number I get is 13. 13, which corresponds to the position of 3 in the second loop, right? So here's the thing about the major arcana. Here's the thing about the archetypal energies that it explores, the hero's journey. The hero's journey is never over. It starts at one level, sort of a more basic, literal, physical, everyday level, and then it goes to a more cosmic level. So we start with magician and we end with the wheel, and then we go to another more cosmic level, starting with justice if I'm working with the Waite-Smith cards, or with strength if I'm working with a Marseille numbering system, and ending with judgment. So 13 is in that second, like sort of more cosmic pull of things, but this is the number that associates with, this is the number 13, wherever it is, 13, that associates with the great mystery of life and death. So at the heart, the root of April for me is justice, but justice under the sway of this archetypal energy, the energy of life and death, that great mystery. So how is justice, and the ways in which justice reminds us to think about choices and consequences and karma, and how this world that I have found myself in, how this is the result of choices that are made, and that there is a sense of coming to terms with how our lives turn on a point. This and not that. Life is about those moments of decision that change everything. And justice reckons with that, sees the impact of choice. The archetypal energy here, life and death. So how is it that my world of choice, the world of ethics, of justice, of virtue, how is it that world of choice is about the great mystery of life and death? It's at the heart of everything, at the heart of this human life. That's my root for this month. And now remembering that my canopy is the Daughter of Pentacles, but I'm going to roll a die is singular. And again, it's sort of like in astrology when we say that, this sign is in the house of. Our dice, plural, give us a sense of that kind of overarching picture. And again, I'm refining my sense of these numbers as having a kind of correspondence that gives us the very structure, the bones, the skeleton of tarot, a correspondence to these stages in my unfolding hero's journey, in my unfolding self-realization. Okay, so my canopy is the Daughter of Pentacles. I'm going to roll the die, and I get an 8. Now, 8 in the world of the minors, right? That 8th position corresponds to, I think the phrasing I've been using for it is, just going to double check. Yeah, letting go. And I'm not really satisfied with that terminology. It's the terminology I came upon when I was first trying to think about these numbers. So it might be that I refine what I understand 8 to be. 8 is one of these numbers I feel like I need to understand better. It's like 8 and 7 seem to be very, 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 very important numbers in tarot, and they're numbers that elude my understanding a tiny bit. But I think for now, really, thinking about that way in which 8 is the place where kind of the world of the finite meets the infinite. So there's a sense of letting go. If you think about the position of 8 in the minor arcana, there's a sense of sacrifice and of kind of throwing ourselves into a world that is already in progress, like the 8 of Wands, that movement, or needing to let go, like the 8 of Swords, the woman with these very loose binds all over her. Her eyes are bound, but her body is bound, but there's a sense that she could just let go. So something about surrender and sacrifice and letting go, and the way in which that that letting go entails encountering that which we don't yet fully understand, a kind of shadowy realm of the infinite. Okay, that was really vague. Working on this 8. But how is the Daughter of Pentacles, Earth of Earth, my canopy? It's like, okay, this canopy, this expansiveness of kind of a total embodiment. Daughter of Pentacles is always my dog Homer's card. So I think of Homer and his just deeply embodied, beautiful soul, his doggy soul, teaching me how to really be in the earth. And then 8 is suggesting a kind of surrender to what I don't understand about embodiment. So my rootedness, the mystery of the 13 of birth and death, right? That position in the archetypal realm and how that relates to the choices we make, to the life we've built moment by moment. And then this kind of canopy, like how I expand out into the world, having to do with embodiment, but an embodiment that is more mysterious than I maybe think it is, right? So choices and body, life, the material realm, birth and death, and this kind of letting go into something that is a little bit more mysterious than we know, right? That's how I expand out. Okay, so that was my first reading. There's a lot to chew on there. But hopefully you guys are excited about chewing on these bones with me. If you are interested in joining the Mindful Tarot community, drop me an email below. We have meetups by Zoom every month, and a pretty lively Facebook group, and just lots of great people hanging out, slinging their cards, and now rolling their die. Okay. As always, thank you so much for your practice, and take very good care.